Good morning, and welcome to the Hall of Fame edition of the Elon Phoenix Weekly. I'm Derek Skelly, and thanks for joining us on your ESPN2 Local Sports Break. As you can see, we are out of the studio at the moment and here at beautiful Rhodes Stadium. Today we will bring you the story of Richard McGeorge, the first member of the Maroon and Gold to earn induction into the College Football Hall of Fame. But we begin today looking at one of the 5 inductees into the Elon Sports Hall of Fame. Jason Vonick is in Alumni Gym with more.
From 1996 to 1999, one woman dominated the paint in Alumni Gym. LAKIA Hayes became one of the most efficient players in Elon women's basketball history, as she stands third best all-time in both points per game and rebounds per game. The two-time All-South Atlantic Conference standout has found her way into the Elon Sports Hall of Fame.
LAKIA Hayes was one of the greatest basketball players to ever step on the court at Elon. From the years of 1996 to 1998, Hayes was a 3-year letter winner while leading the team in scoring and rebounding in all 3 of those seasons. Hayes let us know what it was like to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
This means the world to me. Elon is so special to me. It has such a special place in my heart that to be honored amongst the greats of Elon, the Vanessa Corbetts of the world, it just means the world to me, and I'm greatly honored.
Over the 3 seasons, Hayes built great relationships and made some memories that she will remember forever.
My favorite memory, I would think, with my coaches, Coach Paul, Coach Lashley, when we would travel. Probably when we went to California. We played in San Francisco, and it was just great for the team, the camaraderie. We were all together, doing everything together, and it was fun. It was 2 weeks together. I mean, we were excited to go home at the end. But it was a great Christmas break, and that it was wonderful.
After her career at Elon, she became a teacher and a basketball coach. Hayes told us the joy of teaching the next generation of basketball players.
It's different. The kids today are totally different than we were, but it's totally different, but it's great because you can see them wanting to learn. You can see it in their eyes that they want to go to the next level, especially with the WNBA out now, that they're preparing themselves early for their career in women's basketball.
LAKIA Hayes holds the record for highest free throw percentage in a career and is one of 4 Elon players to grab 300 or more rebounds in a season. Hayes surely left a legacy that will always be remembered at Elon.
Terrell Hudgens, Michael Myers, Aaron Millette. These names might come to mind if we asked for a list of elite receivers to wear the maroon and gold. But almost a half-century before any of these guys stepped on campus, tight end Richard McGeorge began one of the most prolific careers in Elon history. Greg Brzezowski has more.
Let's get started from the beginning. When you first found out about Elon, what was the process of you getting to be on the way to being a fighting Christian?
Well, it was an interesting process. Actually, I was originally, I'm from Roanoke, Virginia, and I had a high school coach that had gone to Elon, Hank Hamrick, who ended up in the Elon Sports Hall of Fame as well. And he brought me down to Elon to try out for both basketball and football. NAIA schools back in the day, you could try out. I tried out for basketball, and Coach Miller at the time had extended all of his money as far as scholarships. So I went down to the football office and worked out there, and they offered me a partial scholarship. I was excited about that, but I still wasn't sure at that point what I really wanted to do. My love at that time was more basketball, even though I enjoyed football a whole lot, which thank goodness I did the way it's turned out. But anyway, I was back home about a week, 2 weeks later, and Dr. Alan White was assistant football coach at the time, and he was recruiting me, and he called back with a $200 offer more than what they had offered me, which at the time it cost $1,325 a year to go to Elon, and my scholarship was $1,000. So my mother and dad both worked for the city of Roanoke, and my dad was a fireman, firefighter, and my mother worked in the Parks and Recreation, so that was a lot of money. And that was a big help for him. So I decided I was going to Elon. It's a great decision that I made, and I'm very proud of it, and I just count my blessings every day.
Now, looking at your football numbers, these stats are out of this world. 224 receptions, 3,486 yards, 31 touchdowns, and this is all when the running game was the main feature of offenses everywhere. You were like that hybrid tight end that we see more nowadays. How do you explain how you were able to do so well in a sport that was dominated on the ground?
Well, I have to attribute my coaches. Coach Red Wilson, when he came in, he brought in the single wing formation and offense, and at that time, that's what a lot of people ran. But he kind of broke the wing a little bit, the single wing, and made it more of a shotgun type offense. Like I said, it was my coaches and also my teammates. Obviously, I've been in football my total life after Elon, and I realized it's not one person. And as a coach, we all realize it takes a team. It takes everyone doing their job and pulling together and to have the success that everybody can enjoy.
What do you have to say about the fact that those records stood for so long, that your mark was left in that school? Is it really put into perspective how special your time as a Fighting Christian was?
Well, I guess the years just kind of go by, you know. I didn't really think about they would stand that long. Obviously, with different offenses that came after I left Elon, there were some that were more pass-oriented and others that obviously were more run-oriented. I remember our son Jason McGeorge. He was a graduate assistant, got his MBA from Elon. We're very proud of him. And I remember he was, as a graduate assistant, he was coaching the wide receivers, and I would talk to him after games, and I'd say, "Son, how many catches did your receivers have this game?" And he'd say, "Dad, they had one." I said, "One?" He said, "Yeah, we didn't throw it but 3 times." So I'm saying, they're not going to be breaking any of my records soon.
No, you're going to be safe for a while.
Exactly, but no, that was just the situation, and I was so proud of Terrell Hudgens. I had a chance to meet him before he actually broke most of all of my records, and he's a terrific young man, and obviously wish him the very best. And I met his mom and dad, and terrific people, and then the following year I got a chance when he had broken not only mine, but Jerry Rice's records, as I recall, and certainly a terrific job that he did at Elon, and very proud of him.
Much like the great history of guys who have caught the ball for Elon, the Maroon and Gold have had a number of outstanding quarterbacks. Kim Wisniewski has more.
For over 50 years, only 4 Maroon and Gold quarterbacks have started under center for all 4 years of their collegiate career. One of these men is Derek Moore, who from 1997 to 2000 led Elon's triple option attack. He's 10th all-time in points, 3rd all-time in rushing yards, and 2nd in total offensive yards. But most importantly, he led Elon into the Division I era.
With the combined skill of a prolific passer and a dangerous runner, quarterback Derek Moore was almost impossible to stop. A 4-year letter winner and 2001 graduate, Moore will forever have his place in Elon sports history.
To be inducted into the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's surreal. I would actually be a part of Elon forever.
In 44 career games under center from 1997 to 2000, Moore threw for over 2,475 yards, scoring 23 touchdowns. Moore left Elon with over 5,700 total yards, a number that still is second highest in program history. With his blazing speed, Moore was ideal for running the Maroon and Gold's triple option attack. He has 2 of the 3 longest runs from scrimmage ever by an Elon player, one coming in his very first start.
Like the second play of my first game, Coach Seagraves looked at me and he was like, "It's time." Like 36 alert. I was like, wow, that's the option. Second play of my college career, what was it, 89 yards. I mean, it's kind of hard to forget.
His career rushing total still rates as the third highest in program history. His sheer will and determination pushed him to be the best.
School, I was always smaller than everyone else, so I knew I had to outwork everybody.
Moore led the Phoenix to 3 winning seasons, finishing with a 9-2 record in 1999 under head coach Al Seagraves.
When I talked with David Hibbert, I was kind of like, yeah, I did do those things.
Moore will forever hold a place in Elon sports history.
Now we introduce the most recent graduate inducted into the Elon Sports Hall of Fame. Here is Casey Stark with more on former football star Brandon Mason.
He was an unstoppable force at center, who at the end of his senior campaign made All-American lists for his play in the trenches. But even more impressively, Mason stood out as a student. He was named a first-team ESPN the Magazine Academic All-American in his senior year. For his work on and off the field, Mason is now the youngest member of the Elon Sports Hall of Fame.
During his time at Elon, Brandon Mason was showered with many awards. However, according to him, being a part of this illustrious Hall of Fame class was the most humbling honor of them all.
Well, first and foremost, I think it proves to myself that my time at Elon was more than what I thought it was. It reinforces the fact that a lot of people put effort and invested a lot into me, and the rest of the inductees for that matter. It really made me stop and think long and hard about what Elon really means to me. So I think it's a great honor for all of the inductees. They're great athletes. Just hearing some of the accolades that they had, I was just astounded. So it means a lot to be a part of such great company.
Looking back at his success and thanking those who helped him along the way was an emotional experience for Mason.
I said this in my speech, but it's really hard to thank everybody that deserves credit for each of the student athletes inducted. I mean, I was overwhelmed with emotion because I know that it goes both ways. I put my heart and soul into Elon, and other people invested a lot in me. But like I said, I got overwhelmed just thinking about everything that, it's really hard to touch on everything like family and the coaching staff, but there are a lot of emotions, and I think you saw it in the other inductees as well, but there are a lot of emotions just tucked away, because we have special feelings for Elon. So that pretty much sums it up.
Mason currently resides in Greensboro, where he is living the dream, working for Shelley Oxley and spending time with his wife and newborn son.
Richard McGeorge's success as a fighting Christian propelled him to be the 16th selection in the 1970 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. This began a long career of both playing and coaching football.
You finish your time with the Fighting Christians, and you start to get ready for the next level, the NFL. Not only that, but you're selected 16th overall in the first round, that 1970 draft class. Can you take me through the moment that you heard that you were drafted?
When the draft came, I had been informed that I may be a high draft pick, but I wasn't real sure. And it was following some stories about guys hanging around the phone waiting for the phone to ring on draft day. I was taking a fine arts class at the time, and that day of the draft, I went to class. And Bonnie stayed home. All of a sudden, someone comes and excuses themselves and said, we need to see Richard McGeorge. And I knew something was going on, so I, of course, got up and went on out, and they said, you've been drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the first round, 16th player in the country. I said, whoa. Anyway, so I head to the apartment and talked to my wife, who had spoken to the general manager at Green Bay. His name was Pat Pepler. Anyway, he says to my wife, when she told him I was in class, he said, what's he doing down there? Is he down there to get an education or to play football? And so I said, well, I was here to do both, actually, but it was really exciting that at that time to get the call, and wow, it was just incredible.
Was that a dream come true for you?
It was a dream come true. I can't say that I spent every moment saying I'm going to make it to the NFL, because I didn't, to be honest with you. But as my development, my years at Elon I got a little bigger, a little stronger, but I always felt if the ball is thrown to me, I'm supposed to catch it. And whether it's one hand, two hands, it's mine and nobody else's. So that worked for me.
Got you where you needed to be at Green Bay.
Exactly.
Now, tell me what it was like playing with the Packers, the first experiences. You play your first couple years, getting passes from Bart Starr. What is that experience like?
There was a big changeover in the Packers roster, the team. There were a lot of guys that played for Coach Lombardi in those first two Super Bowls. They had began to retire. So Bart was still a player, and Carroll Dale and Ray Nitsky and those, Dave Robinson and Willie Wood, and there were some names on there that are Hall of Famers.
Absolute legends, yeah.
Legends, that's for sure. And I was just honored to be a part of it and to learn from what they would do to guide and help me.
And then 73, you're the offensive player on the team from that year. That's pretty special to be able to come back. What motivated you during your time where you were on the sidelines to be able to come back and have one of your finest seasons?
Being the offensive player of the year in 73, the opening game, I ended up catching a touchdown pass on Monday Night Football. And we went on to beat the Jets and Joe Namath in Milwaukee that day. And everybody watched that Monday Night Football halftime deal so you could see what was happening around the league. And of course, we all are familiar with Howard Cosell. And Howard Cosell, he did the highlights, the narrating of it, and all of a sudden here he comes on in one of our games where I call a touchdown pass, and he comes to the point and says, Rich McGeorge from tiny Elon College in the Carolinas. I'm not sure if he knew it was north or south at the time, but it was just a great thrill. And
that's a you made it moment right there, to have Cosell call your name out on national television there.
Yeah, from tiny Elon. And I know Elon folks from that day on have been they recognize Richard McGeorge and Elon and the Green Bay Packers, and I'm just so very blessed.
It's a special thing. And then you decided to stay in football. Once you were done with your playing days in Green Bay, you go on to coach. You go to Duke, you go to Florida, NC Central. We talked about Shaw earlier. Even with the Dolphins in the NFL, USFL, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw the XFL also at one point as well. I'll ask you about that in a sec, but what was your experience like? When did you know you wanted to get into coaching?
Well, that's what when I came to Elon, I wanted to get an education degree, and next to my father, my high school coach, Hank Hamrick, was the most influential person, maybe other than my pastor at the church. But that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my education degree and teach and coach. The fact that I felt like I missed some time because of pro football, that I wasn't sure I could get back into teaching and coaching, or whether it was something I was able to do at that time. And then Coach Red Wilson had become the head coach over here at Duke, and he brought me on as a part-time coach back in '81, and from there I've just been blessed with coaching at places like Duke and at Florida and at Shaw and North Carolina Central, and it's been an honor and it's been a thrill, and I love those kids, every one of them that I've coached. Of course, having a chance to coach with Steve Spurrier at Florida, and then hired by Don Shula, Coach Shula with the Dolphins, and then Jimmy Johnson followed Coach Shula, and I was able to be retained on that staff, and that's three pretty good names in football, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just totally blessed, and it's kind of come to a time where I can watch.
McGeorge enjoyed a 9-year career with Green Bay, where he totaled over 2,000 receiving yards and was the team's Offensive Player of the Year in 1973. Now we're going to throw it to Christine Williams at Latham Park for our next inductee.
Whit Bryant ushered in an era of dominant Phoenix baseball. He was the first Elon player to record 200 hits and is the all-time leader in runs batted in. But his skills were not limited to the batter's box. As a pitcher, he notched 7 victories over top 25 opponents, and most notably, he led the Maroon and Gold to their first ever NCAA National Tournament appearance.
Whit Bryant was a 4-year baseball letter winner from 1999 to 2002 and helped the Maroon and Gold to its first ever NCAA Division I National Tournament appearance in the sport in 2002. Bryant was a two-way player, succeeding both at the plate and on the mound. Bryant had a great career for the Phoenix and is honored to be put into the Hall of Fame.
Feels terrific. It feels like a culmination of everything that took part in my career from freshman year on to senior year. It feels great to have my name up on a plaque that will be there forever and engraved. So to be a part of Elon for long after I'm gone, it's just a great honor.
Bryant made plenty of memories on the field, but it was stepping onto one special field that stands out in his mind the most.
My favorite memory of all from my baseball years here was when we made the regionals, and we found that out, and then we got to step foot on Clemson's field for the regionals, and it was great because it was like everything had come full circle. We'd worked so hard to make it to the regionals, and we were finally there, and that was probably the most memorable of all.
Bryant understands that he could not have had such a great career at Elon if it was not for his biggest fan, his mother.
My mother, who passed away a couple years ago, just remembering how much she was a part of it, and knowing how I wish she was there at that point, and those were the things that were going through my head at that point, and it was very hard to get it together, but I was able to, and it just felt good to recognize the people who were so instrumental in my success here.
Bryant was the first Elon player to ever record 200 career hits, finishing with 280 hits, a mark that still ranks second in program history. While on the mound, he is Elon's career leader with 49 starts and ranks 5th in strikeouts with 233. Bryant certainly left his mark on Elon baseball.
Last but certainly not least, we look at Kelly Lloyd as the final inductee into this year's class of the Elon Sports Hall of Fame.
4 words can describe Lloyd's softball career at Elon: tough to get out. She holds Elon career and single-season records for batting average, and not only did she record 0 strikeouts in the 1998 season, making her the toughest player in the nation to strike out, she accumulated only 20 in her 4-year career.
Every pitcher in the South Atlantic All-Region feared Kelly Lloyd in 1998. The standout big hitter went 110 at-bats without a strikeout that year. In her 4 seasons, from 1996 to 1999, Lloyd terrorized opponents with a .381 career batting average and .561 career slugging percentage, the best in Elon fast-pitch history. The program meant a lot to Lloyd, who did not leave Elon right after graduation.
I got a master's degree here at Elon, and I worked with the athletic staff for 2 to 3 years after I graduated from softball.
Lloyd was very touched by her induction into the Hall of Fame, and the ceremony was emotional for her.
It's hard sometimes because, it's your testimony, it's your story, and now the story's written. The story's now in print, and it's a nice opportunity for me to be able to validate that.
Lloyd's passion for the sport has not faded over time.
I mentioned in my speech it was my first love, and I still itch to play, and I still itch for the game. And so being able to come back and talk about that and to thank those that were involved in that stage of my life, it was an honor to be able to say thank you to them, because a lot of times you don't get the opportunity to say thank you.
The nation's toughest player to strike out in 1998 has a hard time reflecting on why her time at Elon was so meaningful, because it brings back so many great moments from her past.
My career here was wonderful. I take away so many fond memories as an athlete and as a student, but to be able to close that door in the sense of being able to be recognized and to come back, I called it my second home. It truly was. I had an extended family here to me with the athletic program and the coaches and the staff. So to come home and to be recognized is just amazing, and it's a great part in the stage of my life.
We now go back to Greg Brzezowski for our final part on Richard McGeorge, Life After Football.
I get a call from Dr. White over at Elon. He's former athletic director now, but he's the one who recruited me there. And he called and informed me that I'd been selected to be enshrined in College Football Hall of Fame. And I'm like, what? And he says, yeah. I said, I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag here or what here, but from what I understand, you're going to get notified about that. So it was because I was a divisional selection that it was not announced till May 22nd, I think it was. But it was about 15, 20 minutes later, Dave Blank, current athletic director at Elon, obviously, and tremendous person, and he gave me a call and congratulated me, and I was very thankful.
And you talked about your experiences, your feelings on when you heard that announcement. Now take me through the trip. You guys go to South Bend. What was that experience like getting all the way to Indiana?
Well, it was pretty neat. We ended up flew into Midway on the south side of Chicago, and they said they were going to provide transportation. I didn't realize it was going to be a limousine about a block long.
Take in stop.
But obviously fit pretty good in there, you know.
Yeah.
Being there in South Bend and being able to meet the class of the big fellows, I call them, Florida and Georgia and so forth. To meet those guys was quite a thrill. Of course, having coached with the Miami Dolphins, there were several of them that I recall that were on the field as we were playing. So Eddie George, Russell Maryland, those kind of guys. And so that was indeed an honor and a thrill. And then the College Football Hall of Fame itself, as far as going through that, and I spent a couple hours there, and I don't even think I got through a third of it.
As you stood on that stage with college football's royalty from that class, was there a moment in the back of your head where you're like, is this really happening? Is this really where I'm at the College Football Hall of Fame, being inducted into the 2012 class?
There was a couple times, really, when they kind of talked about the meaning of representing college football and being in the College Football Hall of Fame. It was a very touching and special moment to me to realize that I was on the stage and I was a part of college football all across this country. And again, I couldn't have done it by myself. There are so many people that have been there for me along the way. My wife, family, the coaches and the teammates that I've had. And it just showed that a guy from Roanoke, Virginia goes to a little small school in North Carolina, to Elon, tiny Elon College, could make it to the College Football Hall of Fame.
And that is our show for today. If you missed anything or you want to watch it again, be sure to check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Elon Phoenix Weekly. Also be sure to visit elonphoenix.com, your #1 source for all the maroon and gold buzz. On behalf of our producers and crew here at the show, we hope you continue to have a spectacular weekend. For the Elon Phoenix Weekly, I'm Derek Skelly. Thanks for watching.